A daughter who stole £56,000 from her 81-year-old dementia-suffering mother, leaving her in a squalid home to fund her gambling habit, has been jailed. Leslie Smith, who is bound to a wheelchair, had control of her mother's finances after driving other members of the family away. Her mother, Kathleen, was found by authorities with poor hygiene and matted hair, living in a maggot and fly-infested home. She regularly asked her mother Kathleen to withdraw £300 from cash machines to use on online betting websites as part of a 4-year campaign. Smith, 51, is thought to have stolen £90,000, but money was deducted from that total for living expenses, Maidstone Crown Court heard. The defendant was the main caregiver for vulnerable Kathleen, and despite withdrawing so much of her money, her mother was found living in squalid conditions. Smith, from Kent, was described by her daughter, who became estranged from her following her parents' divorce, as having a controlling personality. Although Smith's sister tried to visit their mother, she complained that the defendant was rude and aggressive during these visits. Authorities became suspicious when money was regularly being taken out of Kathleen's account. When she was arrested, Smith admitted to frequently withdrawing money and claimed she intended to pay it back. She said she borrowed £7,000 as she was saving up to buy a house for her and her son. Maidstone Crown Court heard Smith admitted committing fraud over a 4-year period between March 2011 and December 2015. Judge Philip Statman described the situation as a family at war when he jailed her just under 2 years. Abigail White, prosecuting, said this was an elderly lady with dementia who had no reason to withdraw those amounts. Her sister-in-law said the defendant was trying to drive away other family members so that she could take complete control of the financial situation. She gained unfettered control over her bank accounts. There was concern about the way she was being cared for. She was barely 6 stone when the police became involved. The house was in a squalid condition. There were maggots and flies in the property. It was dirty. The lady suffered poor hygiene. Her hair was completely matted and she was malnourished. Social services became involved and family members then helped clean and tidy the house. She was particularly vulnerable. According to a probation officer, there is little or no remorse. The defendant developed septicemia from a tear to the throat and had to have both legs amputated to save her life. Judge Statman said the fact Smith had prosthetic legs and was confined to a wheelchair would make her time in prison difficult, but added he could not suspend the sentence. He added the victim would have been able to live a comfortable life from money in her various accounts had it not been stolen by Smith. Sentencing Smith to 21 months, Judge Statman said, the elderly must be looked after, they must be cared for. They must be protected. It is what they deserve and must receive. It became clear that far from conducting your mother's financial affairs in such a way that she could be cared for within her home, you were using her money in order to support primarily your addiction to gambling. Care of an older person within the community suffering from dementia is something which places a very great burden upon a carer. But that cannot in any way excuse what I have heard about your conduct and your behavior. You had yourself been in poor health, and I am told with the additional responsibility of looking after your mother you sought solace and distraction by gambling. That provides an explanation, but I regret to say it provides no mitigation whatsoever. Because you made a choice and you put yourself and your gambling before the interests of your elderly mother, who was suffering from dementia. Kathleen was diagnosed with dementia in July 2010 and is now living in a car home.
Where the freak's at?